And we are live. We're live with number 7 of the vodcast. I didn't realise I actually wrote, Josh, vodcast number 5 at the beginning. And thankfully I checked it, mate, because that's wrong. It's vodcast number 7. So we're joined live with Josh Lamonaca, who I'm going to go into great detail about as soon as I've accepted this post into the group. Oh, it's gone on anyway. It's on there somewhere. Somebody's watching, so it must be live somewhere. But yeah, Josh Lamonaca's joining us. For those who don't know you, he is owner of Menspire. Am I right in saying the word owner? Is that
Co-owner.
co-owner? Yeah, I thought there might be something I've got wrong there. There usually is. So he's co-owner of Menspire, global educator, I would say. Is that right? Fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a few countries, so I guess
Just a
I guess
few.
that counts global.
I'd say a few, mate. Brazil, Russia, Spain, Mexico. I think I've seen.
Yeah, Mexico. Yeah, yeah.
So
Australia, America, Sweden.
yes, I think we can call that global, mate. But yeah, tell us about yourself for those who don't know you, because you work. Is it St Albans? I think you sell them.
Yeah, St Albans, we have our flagship salon. So, listen, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me on tonight. It's a great pleasure to be part of your Barber Week.
Thank you, mate.
Of the thousands of barbers that there are, and you've picked me out of five. It's a real great pleasure to be able to speak to you and let people hear what I have to say, really. So I started cutting hair when I was 15 years old, and I was extremely curious about different types of hairstyles, and I was insanely inspired mainly by football players such as David Beckham and many other football players that carried, these kind of cool hairstyles at the time. So being a keen footballer, that obviously got my interest into hair, and I was going into a football academy, and during the time, I attempted to cut my own hair because I was always frustrated with going to the barber and getting my hair cut too short. And, you know, it left me with a lot of frustration. And it also left me questioning, why do these barbers not have the ability to cut my hair the way that I want them to? So I started cutting it myself. Eventually, my auntie was a hairdresser. I started going to her. Because she was my family, I had a little bit more freedom of speech. So I was able to kind of be a little bit more particular about what I wanted short, what I wanted long. And eventually I started cutting hair of my teammates in my football team when I was at the academy. And so I started getting lots of practice because being around football teammates, they always wanted fresh shape ups, little trims here and there to be fresh to the game. So in the changing room or at training, I would just give them haircuts to whatever knowledge that I would know, self taught. Eventually, after leaving the diploma after 2 years of doing sports and exercise science, I decided to get a qualification in barbering, so I could, ultimately have a backup because football was the number one. So eventually, I went into barbering at a local college and really, really excelled and really, really loved it. And eventually, by the end of the college year, I was in fact teaching some of the students that were on the same course. And I found a very, very natural and richly rewarding feeling from being able to help others grow their skills. And from there, I decided that I wanted to continue doing women's hair. Um, I mean, I say I wanted to. I didn't necessarily want to, but I was questioned about doing it from the head of the department. And he said to me, "Look, Josh, do 2 years. You only have to do 1 year. We can transfer some of the units over." And so I said, "You know what? I'll do it. Let's do it." And initially, in the first 3 months, I really found it difficult. And where I thought that I'd become quite good and competent barbering, I really found women's hair difficult. And it was so humbling because I thought, after 3 years of doing men's hair, I thought I was the dog's collar. And as I got into women's hair, I realized that I actually am just bollocks, And so it it it's driving me with motivation to continue going on because being a football player, it was you had the mindset where you just don't quit, you know. And so I continued doing women's hair, and eventually I kind of found my way, found my way into it, and got the habits, and eventually started working for Hub Salon. Went up to their academy and trained, and eventually I was working for Hub Salon for about 3 or 4 years. Made
So
my way through.
I was
Made
going to
my
say
way.
before we go through to that, because obviously there's so much information there. So you've obviously started as a footballing want to be, if you will. Where was that at? Sorry.
So that was at St Albans City.
Yeah.
That
And
was
then
conference level at that time, and
and
I was 18, 17, 18 at this point.
it's interesting how many gents, including myself, we talked to Matthew Watt the other day, who will be buzzing that I'll give him a shout out, because he was a similar sort of story, wanted to be a footballer, couldn't be a footballer for whatever reason, but it's the fashion that inspires us from the football to do the job that we're doing now.
That's it. Yeah, but I mean, listen, as young men, we look up to footballers because of the lifestyle that they live, the hair that they have, the cars that they have, the wives that they have. You just look up to them at such a young age. You may be naive as you get older and realize, but when you're a young kid, man, you just look at them and you think that's what I want.
Number one,
I
isn't it?
mean,
That's the life you want.
yeah, yeah. But listen, we get older and we see reality. You know what I'm saying? But listen, I was at Hub Salons for about 3 or 4 years. Worked my way up to be a salon trainer, a creative ambassador, and again, being a salon trainer and teaching the assistants there, I again fell into love with being able to provide people with information that made them feel better, that intently made me feel better. Um, I wanted to do so much more with this company, but this company seemed to have limited me in my growth. I wanted to progress more in men's hair, but as a hairdressing company, it was kind of out of the bounds of the possibility. And, I, for one, wasn't going to be a person that was prevented by someone else's dreams, goals, ambitions. I was after chasing mine. And therefore, I decided that I wanted to move on and continue teaching. So I eventually moved into a place called the Hair Project in London, teaching NVQ level 2 for barbering and hairdressing.
Okay.
So I was there for about 3 months, 4 months, until I was made redundant again because this company was very, very young and they weren't able to keep me on. And in the meantime, I built them a 2 3 day barbering curriculum. Again, with limitation, it was very, very frustrating. And I got to the point where I was about 22 and I hadn't seen what I wanted to see, and that was being on stage in front of people. What I know with passion, and it was frustrating. So I had this time from about 18, where I first went to London, Salon International, and experienced some of the glamorous stage work and the passion that people were sharing. And from then, that's where I realized I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to get on stage, be able to share my knowledge, share my work with passion and purpose. And again, got to 22. I'm like 5 years later. I'm like, damn, I'm just not getting where I want to get. And I had to make a decision. I had to make a real decision and say, you know what, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this by myself. If no Clipper brand is going to sponsor me, if no scissor brand is going to sponsor me, if I'm not going to get myself in a magazine, if no product brand is going to sponsor me, I'm going to do it myself. And that's exactly what I done. Because yourself, being in the game for so long, that 10, 15 years ago, there weren't social media like, you didn't have no Instagram, you didn't have no ambassador of this, ambassador of that. There's so many people who's ambassador of absolutely everything. Back then, there was such thing. It was L'Oreal,
No.
it was Bella, it was Goldwell. And
Yeah.
if you weren't part of them, you ain't nothing. You ain't getting nowhere. It
So
was so difficult to get into a magazine back then, but now you could be seen overnight.
absolutely, and I love the fact that you will bring that back because it kind of motivates myself personally as well. Because that was a similar story to how I felt frustrated. I felt like I wasn't getting noticed. I was blaming the position of my salon, that I was in a small town instead of in a city, and
Yeah.
like you said, you've got to do things outside the box to get noticed. Back then, it's not as easy as it is now to get noticed.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. So, I decided that I wanted to create something niche in my town, and I went to school with Samuel Palmer. We weren't necessarily friends at school. We had different social groups, but we were coming to the end of school years, and we was 15 years old, 16 years old, and we realized that we were both into hair. So we kind of had that sort of arm's length sort of respect, going, yeah, I see you, and you see me. And we obviously didn't really stay in touch in after school, and then after a couple of years, he kind of saw what I was doing with my barbering, and he obviously being from the same city, heard a lot about me doing a lot of people's hair in our town, and I also heard a lot about him doing a few people in our town as well. And he'd been working for Sanriz, another strong company, starting out in hairdressing. So where I'd start in barbering, he'd start in hairdressing, and I then went into hairdressing, and he wanted to start doing barbering. So it was like we kind of just started to cross paths and got back in touch with each other and started to congratulate each other about each other's work and progression and stuff like that. And eventually Sam left Sanriz as well for his own reasons. And we came down in 2012. We was about 22, and we kind of said to ourselves, you know what, in 2014, yeah, we're going to open up this new joint in men's hairdressing where it's going to be quite niche and appointments only, refreshments, quite high end, which at the time in 2012, we're talking 8 years ago, this kind of thing didn't exist. And if it did, it would only be in hotels or Mayfair. And we wanted to create something brand new in our city, because ultimately in our city, it's just you walk into a barber's, you wait your turn, you pull paper, and that's it.
Well, that
So,
goes back to what Johnny Barbar was saying yesterday. Sorry to interrupt you, but Johnny Barbar said the same thing yesterday. The difference between a 4-star hotel and a 5-star hotel is the service that's given inside it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's completely correct, and that's exactly what we wanted to focus on. Before myself and Sam went into business together, we went on a charity project together, and Sam, I love Sam. He's he's a bit more flash than me, yeah. So he ended up booking for me and him in India, where we went and done this goodwill project. He ended up booking a 5-star hotel after we'd been sleeping in quite rough places. And I'd never put money down at that age. I think I was 23 at the time. I never put money down for a 5-star hotel. You know what I mean? And he just said, "Trust me, come on, you'll have a brilliant time. It's going to be amazing." I just said, "You know what, man? Let's just do it." And when I got to this hotel, I tell you what, I never experienced a 5-star before, and damn, when I experienced that, it lit me up, man. It just lit me up. It enlightened me, and I thought, you know what, I know why you do this now. Like, it feels amazing, and what he wants to do, and collectively, what we wanted to do is build that feeling inside a salon. Where is, you have a strong greeting, you have refreshments, you have an appointment system, you have everything that accumulates this 5-star experience. Instead of, and no disrespect to any barbers that are still a walk-in, base barbers, we wanted to create this new experience that was personal and almost quite private like, which didn't exist in 2012, 14. So we ended up opening in well, we found a unit July 2013, and we thought, right, we're going to do it. We're going to open up by the summer. And you know what? With this building, getting the building done, we eventually opened up in 2014. So where we was sat down at lunchtime 2012, said, you know what? In 2014, we're going to open up one day. And there it was, 2014, February the 2nd, we opened up the first doors to Menspire Salon. And 6 years later, we have 13 salons and 2 academies. Yeah, of course. You know what? I did. Maybe not so quick. Maybe not so quick, but I definitely saw the fact that we wanted to create not a barber shop, but we wanted to create a brand. We wanted to create a brand that was sustainable, something that was everlasting. So if me and Sam weren't here anymore, it would continue to thrive. Whereas if we just owned a barber shop, it's great, but then it's all about me and Sam and whoever else is employed. And, that's not always sustainable because I'm going to get old. Sam's going to get old, and the next best thing will come along. And ultimately, the next best thing should be leaders that we create. And that's ultimately what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to achieve a sustainable brand that wasn't necessarily based upon myself and Sam, but it was based upon men as a whole or people as a whole. Hence the term why we describe our brand as Menspire and not Manspire, which would have been just me or just Sam. So it's plural for a reason. And the reason is that we wanted to build a community around men's hairdressing that people can contribute to and people can partner to. And that's what we've done.
Fantastic. No, I just want to apologise to people that are watching because I was muted when I asked that question earlier. But the question was, how did you get to having 16 salons? Did you envisage having 16 salons or whatever, number it was at that time? So yeah, that was the question. Sorry, guys. But so you've got your ethos. You've got your, you know what you want. You've created this luxury men's hairdressers, and I love the fact that I'm allowed to use the word men's hairdressers because I'm often referred to as a barber. Sure. Now, I don't know what you want to refer yourself as. There's no insult in this being referred to as a barber, but I like to be known as a men's hairdresser because I was a women's hairdresser first. Now, you said you went down the hairdressing route, and I feel that it set me up for what I am today, and I want to keep the recognition of being a hairdresser, even though I do mainly men's hair now.
Yeah. Well, listen, let me put that question simply because I feel like it's such a... It seems to be the question of all time. What does a barber... Simon, what does a barber do? Cuts hair.
Yeah.
What does a men's hairdresser do?
Cuts hair.
Ultimately, what do? We make people look and feel fantastic. And that's what we do. So if someone asks you, what, Simon, what do you do for a living? You know what you can do? You can turn around, you can say, you know what? I make people look and feel fantastic. That's what I do. And the majority of the time, people turn around to me and say, "What are you a surgeon?" And I'm like, "Nah, not surgery. Are you a dentist? What do you do?" No. I cut hair. I make people look and feel fantastic. That's what I do. So you can call it barber, you can call it hair cutter, hair designer, stylist, men's hairdresser. You can call it whatever you like. You can even call it barbiere, pelucchiere. You can call it whatever you want in any language. I make people look and feel fantastic. That's what I do.
So what do you call yourself?
I don't call it anything.
Nothing.
I don't call it anything.
I tried, guys. I tried.
I make people look and feel fantastic.
I love that. So you've got your academies now. Yeah. Are they dominating the barbering world or the men's hairdressing world now, would you say? Because a lot of people sort of invest in their time into academies as a stylist as well now.
Sure. Well, right now, I think the coronavirus is dominating every academy. That's for sure. Listen, we have a fantastic syllabus. We have had fantastic students. We've had iconic students that have turned into leading platform artists, and it's something that we're passionate about. Education is something that we're all passionate about here, and it's something that attracts people to our brand is because we always want to move forward. We never want to stand still, and that comes from education. Education is ultimately another word for progression.
Yep.
If you educate yourselves, you are progressing yourself. And if you're progressing yourself, how does it make you feel? It makes you feel happy. We are constantly asked, what makes you happy? How do you find happiness? Well, ultimately, happiness is just a result of progression. So what do you do in your life to progress? Well, what do we do in our company? We do education, and we provide that for not only our staff, but we also provide that for our industry. And that really basically is, a small bit of our philosophy at the Menspire Academy and the Menspire Education. It's something that we travel around the world and we try to provide our message by building this culture of people that want to do education, that are willing to do education. And that is the difference. The difference between someone that is excellent and someone that is outstanding is the fact that they are willing to improve day in, day out.
But you talk about education as if it's sort of just part of what you do. But I just want to reiterate to people that are watching and will be listening to this, that your education, mate, is another world to what I know as education. Now, I'm now a stage artist, if you will, for Matrix, but I'm known as an artist educator. Now, your education levels, mate, inspire me to want to go onto your website. They'll inspire hairdressers that I'm meant to be going out teaching others how to cut hair, and I would quite happily pay for your services. Your level is beyond excellent.
Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that. Like I say, we cater for absolutely any level. We just this year have started our beginner course, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and to be honest with you, about 3 years. And the reason why I've been thinking about it is because I know that I didn't necessarily get the strongest of education across the board in barbering, because right now, there are so many education centers out there, but there are not so many that are giving what we believe and see as a proper education, an education that is sustainable, like I said before. And for that reason, we want to give people that enter this industry the best possible start to their career, to have a fulfilling career. Not just one that they try out, and then if they don't like it, they duck out. No, 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 no. If you come into this industry, you come in with a purpose that you're staying in this industry to make a difference.
Yes.
And that's what we want to be able to give to people that come into this industry, along with, obviously, educator training that we've been doing for, as well, which is really, really important, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of educators now, and one thing I'll always say, look, wherever there is guidance, there is also misguidance. So there are many educators out there who, yes, they may be able to teach someone one thing or two things, but don't forget there's also bad habits available as well. And it's really important that we help this industry grow as quick and as fast as possible, as good as possible, so we can get the most out of our value by increasing our prices, therefore making us feel more valued as an industry. And I think that's the ultimate goal is, look, why can't we charge the same as doctors, the same as lawyers, the same as everything? Why can't we?
Absolutely.
We make a huge difference to people's sanity, let alone what people might see on the outside as just vanity. We do so much more. And do you know what? This is the thing that pisses me off about this whole situation right now. Because right now we're told that we're going to go back to work until July the 4th, which to me is still unconfirmed. Yeah, I'm seeing every other motherfucker out there on the beach, all close up together, and I'm seeing driving instructors close together on with their customer. I'm just thinking to myself, not even dentists. They're telling me the dentists are back on June the 5th or 4th.
And tailors.
And I'm thinking to myself, nah. So all the shops are going back, and it's 15th of June. All the non-essential shops are going back. But hang on a minute. If the shops are going back and they're non-essential, what on earth? What the heck does that make us? If we're not non-essential, we must be non-important. And I'll tell you who's making these decisions are people with bloody bald head, mate. And that's why they don't fit, because they've probably got room.
I love that. And before I carry on with that, Rick Roberts has just popped in and said, how are you, Josh? I'm loving how you inspire hairdressers. Salam alaikum.
Yeah, walaikum salam.
So that you said it there, and I just want to echo back. Thank you for joining us, because going back to finish your education sort of point of view, you are one of the best educators I have ever witnessed. You are one of the best hairdressers I've ever witnessed, but do not tell any of my clients that. And also you're very inspiring, mate. I mean, I just want that to go off there, because we're going to go on to sort of religion now. And the reason I wanted to say this is because you've got to have a certain level of sort of inner peace or inner contentment to achieve certain goals, I believe. You've got to have a drive, yeah, but you've got to believe in who you are and what you're about.
100%.
So you converted to being a Muslim. I'm sorry if any of my terminologies come across wrong, but you converted over 6 years ago, it was, you said, no?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about religion so much, but I will talk about my experience, and I will talk about, belief, because I think that's a very, very important thing all round. Listen, if you believe in God, great. If you don't, cool, no problem, got nothing against it. But one thing you should believe in is yourself. And that is absolutely vital.
Yeah.
If there's anything in this world, this universe, that you need to believe in, and you need to believe in you, because ultimately no one is going to be better than you. And if you don't believe it, no one else will. But for me, look, I believe in God. I believe that there is something that is so greater than us, that humbled us, that we have to submit, because there are so many things in this world that we have no control over. But yet we walk on this earth with so much ego, it makes no sense. Now, for me personally, I believe every single person on this planet has been given a gift. But God didn't come down and point and say, you know what, you, Simon, you got the gift. You, Josh, you got the gift. Hey, Rick, you got the gift. No, 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 no. We didn't get chosen like that. We are all chosen. We all have this gift, and it's up to us individually to unwrap it. But we can't unwrap it because we're so disguised from the dust in our eyes that we don't believe in ourselves and believe that we have what it takes to achieve whatever we want to. Should we submit and understand that there is something greater than us?
So
And
you touch on it there, and I want to echo the fact that I was wanting to talk about spirituality today, because I do feel, like I said a minute ago, to anyone who's watching, because people are joining in saying like, well said, such a talent, etc. Rick Roberts said 100%. But I just want to echo that the spirituality is something within you that you need to find an inner peace or an inner contentment to know and achieve goals, and that's something I struggled with until the age of 30. I'm 34 tomorrow, Thursday. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about, because you've just done a 30-day fast, is it?
that's right. Yeah, I've been fasting for 30 days.
How do you find that, mate?
Yeah, interesting. I've done it for 6 years now, in the holy month of Ramadan, and this year was a very interesting year. We're not allowed to go and worship at the central place of worship because see the COVID-19. So spiritually, it has been very, very challenging. But physically, of course, as always, it has been absolutely fantastic. It's always fascinating to understand what your body does when fasting occurs. And a lot of the time, we don't often give our physical body, our digestive system, a rest. I'm 30 years old, and like many other 30-year-old guys, for 30 years, the digestive system probably hasn't had a rest. The whole point of fasting is to detox,
Yeah.
is to get some recovery inside. And a lot of people focus on the outside. They think of the external vanity through the body, which is, it's great, whatever. You want to look good, but you've also got to feel good. Now, feeling is not something that you always see, and it's a bit similar to pain. Look, if I punch you in the arm and it hurts, you might respond and say, "Ow, that hurt." And I'm going to say to you, Simon, I'm going to say, "Look, well, prove it.
Yeah.
You can't prove to me what pain looks like." You see what I'm saying? Because it's a feeling, and it's something that we always tend to forget. We tend to forget how we feel, and it's something that we always want to encourage ourselves to get in touch with that feeling. And there are so many things that you can evolve from being able to get in touch with your feelings, such as with our work, our creativity, our communication. So many things that can help elevate us in our own career, in our jobs, in our family life, relationship, so many things. But we have to get in touch with our deepest understanding of ourselves.
So I love this, you see, because I want to bring this sort of back to hairdressing now, and you've found that inner peace, you found that sort of concentration, and how do you bring this to it? How does it affect you? How does it help you with what you're doing? Because you're running a massive company now, you're cutting hair still on the floor, you're educating. How has this helped you with what you do in life?
You know what, man? I mean, I don't want to get too deep, because I don't know who's watching, and I don't want to turn people off. But listen, death. Everyone is going to see it, and that's what I see on a daily basis. And as deep, as dark as that might sound, it also inspires me. It also motivates me to and challenges me to make sure that I make the most of every single day. And I'm not fussed about leaving currency in this world. I want to leave legacy in this world. And the only way I can do that is by understanding that it will come to an end for me, but it might not come to an end for what I've created in this earth.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, Daniel Granger touched on that in the live that he did with us. He's very similar mindset. I feel like I'm similar myself in wanting to leave something behind that everyone says, oh, he was a good guy, or it's something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be I've built an empire. It just leave an impression is enough for me. But yeah, like you said, we don't want to go too deep on that. But I feel like it's a topic that I wanted to talk to you about. We discussed it days ago. That I wanted to mention, like your spirituality and things like that, because I feel like it's an important thing about you and who you are. Whether you want to discuss it is fine, but and in what's going on in the world right now, mate, it's something that we need to discuss really, and people need to accept differences, and we're all different, but yet we're all having the same goals and achievements.
Absolutely. Now, I just want to say, whilst we're here, I'm not here to say that. Look, follow me. I'm the perfect example. I'm an educator. I travel the world. I'm not here to say that I'm a perfect example. But what I can say in my own action is that, look, I'm on a journey trying to perfect myself in order to become an example. And I want to say that with complete humility, because I think that's something that we should all aspire to, is the fact that we're not perfect, but we can try to perfect ourselves.
Absolutely. So you're going further now, right? So you've gone to this, and in lockdowns obviously impacted you business wise, and it's impacted every one of our listeners and watchers on the Vodcast. But how have you used this as a motivation? Because obviously you're a passionate, positive guy.
Yeah, of course. So I travel the world week to week. That was my thing, and it's funny because every single year it gets to January and I'm like, you know what, this year I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to do less countries, less, visits, and more time at home. And damn, every time it gets to mid-January, I'm speeding up. I think that the positive thing for me about this COVID-19 is that it's held me down. It's held me down in the country with my family the way it should be, and it's given me the opportunity to have that break that was much, much needed after, 3 or 4 years of traveling week to week, country to country, cities, and that's it really. Listen, it's definitely time. Time's up. I'm not gonna lie. The time is up now. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what people say. We've got to get out there. Otherwise, we're just going to be sitting in here like absolute sheep, following whatever the heck they say, man. So
yeah,
if July 4th comes and they tell us, another 2 weeks, it's got to get to a point where we actually stand up and say, do you know what? No, it's time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to be backing down all the time and every time, and it's time that we stand up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for the economy, I can't think of any business that's more, apart from obviously groceries, but like hairdressers are everywhere, man. We are massively important to the economy and to the well-being of clients as well.
Well, this is the thing. This is why I say, look, the people that are making these decisions are probably bald, and no disrespect, but they probably have nothing to groom, so they don't really understand the feeling that we give them. And therefore, we're non-essential or non-important. What are we? Non-essential? Not even important? Nothing? What are we? And this is what I'm saying. We need to stand up. We need to stand up and voice the fact that what we do for people is much more than just a haircut. We know this, but they don't know this until we stand up and, stick together and put the voice out there.
Well, Jim the Barber just commented. He's just commented saying, Josh for hair president.
Who said that?
Jim Barber is called.
Yeah, hello, Jim Barber.
But yeah, no, I agree. So where we're going now? So we've done that. We're up to where you are today. But where's the future taking Menspire? What are you doing now? Is it going more online? Is it definitely traveling the world more?
Sure. So let me talk about the salons. So we're constantly, building our leaders. Good leaders don't create followers. Good leaders create leaders. It's a quote from Simon Sinek, and that's certainly something that we continue to do. And in fact, during this COVID-19 situation, we were due to open up our very first salon in America, Portland, in
Wow.
in April, and of course we that obviously hasn't happened yet. So we're actually going to be opening up our first American salon on, I think it's June the 12th. They open up. So that's super exciting in regards to our future, to be able to hit the other side of the pond. As for education, online is the way that we have been going over the past few weeks since the beginning of lockdown. And then we're obviously going to start our pre-recorded platform, which it's great. It's absolutely fantastic for people that can have access from all corners of the globe, and we're extremely excited.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's something I'm not just saying it because you're on. I've interviewed that. I've done 46 videos, I think, now over lockdown. This is my new venture. It's something that I would invest in myself personally, absolutely. And anyone who's watching or listening to this afterwards, definitely check it out. I can't comment today, guys, so I'm really sorry. My comments box isn't working, so I can't even write on. I usually put handles on and tell when we're talking about topics. But follow Menspire, follow Josh Lamonaca. It's all on there to see, but yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic education platform. I can't preach it enough.
Thank you, appreciate that.
No, you're welcome, mate. And unless there's anything else you want to say, I mean, I'm blessed to have your time.
If anyone is interested in coming to experience our education, simply drop me an email at education@menspire.co.uk. Alternatively, take a little screenshot, tag me at Josh Lamonaca on Instagram. If you've got any questions, hit me up. I get back to a lot of people as quick as I can, especially in this time period. I'm accessible. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be glad to hear from people.
Yeah, just to sort of throw a comment in there, basically, mate. I think I messaged 4 barbers in total. 3 of them got back to me, which was you was the first one. And you don't, and just to say how good that is, because Josh doesn't actually follow me, so that would have gone into his request box. So to see that is incredible, and to take the time out to come and see us and who we are and what we're about is absolutely exceptional. So if he will comment, guys, so get your emails in.
Yeah,
But
it's
thank
funny
you.
because as long as you are writing in English or Italian, to be fair, because I can speak Italian, um, I'll try my best to get back to someone. You know what I'm saying? When I start seeing Brazilian or sorry, Portuguese or Russian or Persian, I'm like, damn, I just can't. I wouldn't be able to take the time to go to the translator and it's just too much. It's too much.
Before, go on then. Before you go, but let's ask some questions then about like you've travelled. You've been around the world, mate. I've seen some of the shows you've done in Russia, mate, are insane.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
where's your favourite place you like going?
Favorite place. Well, I mean,
As a not to
being
educate, as a country.
being half Italian, I love
Yeah,
to go back to Italy every time, because it means that I get to practice my Italian more. I get to learn more language, and the food is great. The people are
yeah.
great, and it's always fantastic. I love to
What?
go to America because there's
Yeah.
no translation needed. Um, I love how the people are in general. They're so appreciative. And in fact, you know what? I actually love Russia as well. To be honest with you, I love the Russians. I think
Yeah.
people find the Russians very very hard to communicate with and hard to experience. But I love them guys, man. They just crack me up, and they have
It's
so much respect as well. And they love to challenge you, and I love to be challenged. So it just works.
mate.
Um, Brazil as well. Damn, those guys, man. They are super passionate. They treat you like you are a Brazilian football player. That's how they treat you. It's just insane. It's insane, man. And yeah, Italy, Russia, Brazil. Um,
I was
yeah,
lucky enough to work myself in Russia for the World Cup. I got to travel with the England boys. I was blessed. I got into going there, and I went with a completely I was misconception to Russians and the
yeah,
place, and I was scared, mate. I'm not gonna lie because obviously the media didn't help that, but I was
no,
scared traveling around Russia on my own cutting hair.
no,
But I can't tell you how hospitable they were, mate.
Yep, yeah. I had the same thing. The first time I went to Russia was 2017 September, and I think I went to Ukraine the month before. So I already had this pre-notion from going to Ukraine, and obviously, you remember there was a great war between
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ukraine and Russia. And I thought to myself, damn, what if they know that I've been to Ukraine? You know what I'm saying? I thought to myself, nah, this, I'm not sure. And I had the same preconceptions as you, and I was like, damn, I just don't know if I should be going there. And man, I went, and they were just fantastic, super hospitable, and you just got to crack the ice with them, and make them,
Absolutely.
and that's it. They're just people, man. They're just people, you
I
know.
had to take my wheelchair. I sometimes use a wheelchair when I've got injuries and stuff, and I had to take my chair to Russia, and I can't tell you, it was annoying, to be honest with you, because I'm a little bit of a like chest out, I can do it myself kind of guy, especially when you grow up in a wheelchair, you don't want any help. And then so I'm going to Russia, but I can't tell you how much they helped me, right? Like they were picking me up almost to put me on a fucking curb, and I'm like, I can do this, but thank you guys, like, I'm loving it, thanks for the hospitality. They were taking me, they were offering me lifts, they were doing all this stuff, and I was like, it was getting a bit overwhelming how nice they were. I come back to
Yeah.
Manchester on the plane because I'm only doing like 3 days there, 3 days working in England, 3 days there again. I come back to England and I get to my chair and I've got my suitcase and I'm throwing this suitcase up an hill and I'm trying to catch it before it rolls back down on me. And I got all the way to the car. I thought, not one fucking person's helped me in England. And
Oh
I wouldn't
my
have
God.
normally been bothered. I would have loved that. But all of a sudden now I'm irritated by it.
Oh, blimey, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, it goes to show, man. It goes to show. You know.
Absolutely. I seen you because you had the Russia shirt on with Lamonaca 7 on the back, if I remember
Uh,
correctly.
Someone nicked that shirt. You know
Is
that?
there?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I took it off obviously after the show, and I had it in my hand, and someone asked me to come and take a photo, and they said, "Let me hold that for you. Let me hold that for you." And of course, as you can imagine, I went to take the photo. I'm looking around for my shirt. I'm thinking, "What my shirt?" I love that. That was my idea. I
It's a
come up with
class
the idea.
shirt.
Look, if I'm coming to Russia, I want you to buy me a Russian shirt, put my name in the back, and I'll wear it on the stage. And
Absolutely.
nah, I just nicked it. Someone nicked it. So I ended up going home with no Russian shirt. You
Fucking
know?
hell. We've just been singing how good the Russians are. Now you're telling me they're stealing your shirt,
Oh,
mate.
no. Well, that's probably on eBay somewhere for thousands of pounds. I'm just joking.
But yeah, you must have been like a footballer going over there. That's why they were nicking your shirt.
Uh, yeah, it was crazy.
What's
They are crazy. They are,
what's the
they are
biggest
crazy.
stage?
Biggest stage that I've been in front of is about 3,000 people in South Korea.
Wow.
But I say the biggest stage. It wasn't. It was. It was more theatrical. It wasn't speaking. It was
Yeah.
just sort of doing some hair work, and that was it. The biggest stage that I've spoken in front of is about 1,800 people in Brazil, and my God, was that an experience? I tell you, you could have thought that there was 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people in that theatre. It was insane, incredible, incredible. But yeah,
Um,
fantastic experience.
Tracy Dunbar's just asked before I let you go. Sorry. How do you cope working with translators?
You know what? Patience. You've got to have patience. If you're a good educator, you will understand that there's a certain amount of difficulty, not only just translating something into another language, but also translating key terminology into another language. And I've seen, even some of my own educators get very, very frustrated with translators, and it's something you have to be smart about. You have to be intelligent about the fact that you have to be patient with the translators to get the best out of them so that you can get the best out of your students. And that's it, really. Experience.
Wow, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, mate. The people are saying
Absolutely.
wow with stars. Thank you very much from Nicholas Soul. Fab chat from Amanda at Sax Apprenticeships. So yeah, mate, I just want to say lastly, before I let you take the stage again, thanks for your time. You were one of the first, if not the first. I pretty much remember you being the first to respond. You and Johnny. So thank you so much for that, and hopefully I will see you again one day. Work together maybe one day.
Lovely. Thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to voice some opinions of my journey. And I hope that everyone that has been watching and that will watch over in the future, I wish you all the best. And again, thank you very, very much for watching. Much appreciated. God bless.
Love that. Thank you, man.